Hello, and welcome to French Fried Trains. It's Saturday, October 5th, 2019. We went out that morning to go railfanning, which is usually a busy time. But in the beginning, we had to wait about an hour before the first train arrived. It was a southbound train. A pair of ES-40 DCs lead this manifest train. The leader, with some definite fading going on in his yellow paint on the lettering there. This guy's even got some refrigerator cars on. I was informed by other rail fans that this was Q563. A big cut of tankers there, followed by uncovered steel coils. The word on Facebook that morning was that this train had earlier pulled a drawbar. That could explain why I had to wait so long before he got here and we didn't have our normal Saturday morning traffic. But once he went by, the floodgates opened and train traffic picked up substantially. About half an hour later, the next southbound train arrived. I thought it was an auto rack train, but it turned out it just had a couple auto racks on the front. It was really a manifest. This train is led by an AC-44CW and an ES-44DC. This was Q507, another southbound mix manifest. A nice big cut of tank cars. Some pretty good artwork there. I didn't realize at the time of filming how much lens flare the sun was creating there. He's definitely slowing down now. He's coming to a stop on the main line at the south end of Carlisle. And just like the front of this manifest train, the rear had some auto racks on as well. Like I said, he was stopping on the main line. And once he stopped, you could actually see his tail end right up here by the park in Carlisle. The signal went lunar right behind him. Now you can just barely make out his tail end when I zoom in here, but you can see the signal is lunar behind him. Now it was another half an hour to 40 minutes before the next southbound arrived, but the northbound, which I was assuming would be coming up the siding and what this first southbound was waiting on here, didn't appear before I heard the horn of the next southbound. In fact, I saw the next southbound round the bend while this guy's tail end was still stopped there. Now this guy was definitely creeping on the account of the train in front of him. It took him about 5 minutes to get up to this crossing from the time I first saw his headlight. I glanced back over my shoulder, and the first southbound was still sitting there not moving, so I assumed this guy was just going to stop. Some nice older power on this guy. A GP38 2 leading, followed by a GP42 and a GP40. As you can kind of see in this zoom shot, the signal is still lunar. But this guy didn't actually have to stop. The train right in front of him did start to move. This was J783, another mixed manifest. Now we're going to go ahead and cut to the end of this guy, because it took him a good 10 to 15 minutes to fully pass going this slow. Now this was definitely some well-timed out railroading. What happened was, the first southbound sat there, the northbound made his way up the siding even as this second southbound was pulling in. Then, once the northbound was in the siding, the first southbound took off out of there, giving this one just enough time to creep in behind him without having to stop. Now I was expecting the northbound to come out after this, but as you can see, the signal went lunar once again. There was another southbound coming. Now this one took about half an hour to get here, so by the time he got here, the signal was green for him. An intermodal train, led by an ES40 DC and an ES44 DC. A cut of single stacks in here. And now back to double stack. And some more singles again. Once he went by, that northbound finally got to make his run north out of town. Look at the smoke billow as these two big GEs work hard to get the train moving. An ES44 ACH leads this guy, followed by an old AC44 CW, still in the YN2 paint scheme and a little bit faded. A nice cut of gondolas on this guy. And a bunch of empty center beam cars. Now he's getting some speed. And even more empty center beam cars. I don't think I've ever seen so many empty center beam cars all on one train like this. And now we're into a bunch of coil shield cars. And that's all the trains I got Saturday morning. It was an epic day of rail fanning with heavy rail traffic. Later that evening, I went out for a little bit, and I heard a train coming. I was in luck. But when it got here, it was an even bigger surprise. 2 engines running light power. And an epic little horn show there, as these 2 engines cruise through town all by themselves. Later that evening, I was on my way home, and it was dark out, but I knew a train was coming, so I decided to at least stop and film its headlights. Now that's all we have for tonight, so I leave you with this train locomotive passing at night. Now stay tuned for our next episode, because we have plenty more railroad action where that came from. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great week, everyone.